Okay, let's begin the briefing. Operator, we've got news that an invading LASAP squadron has just taken off from the Puna Plains, en route for an attack on our position. From their perspective, after all, this is the only base I guess we can consider Griffith Squadron. Prepare for launch. Oh, I forgot. The enemies protect this. If everything goes well, we should be able to get the upper hand. All right. Please prepare one final thing.
Maintain your present course. Do you see the enemy formation on your radar? Read you loud and clear. We're coming up on the enemy from behind, just like we planned. You can let the escorts go, but just make sure you take out all bombers.
We'll show them what we got. After all, we're really pilots. Isn't that right, Captain?
Excuse me, Griffith 2. Please use code names during the mission. Understood. This new guy does everything by the book. Don't you think Griffith 1? What? Hold on a second. The city's being closed. Unbelievable. There are no military facilities in that city. What are you doing? You shouldn't be wasting ordnance. Relax. We're just going to bomb some base in the sticks, right? There'll be more than enough ordnance left to finish the job. One bomber down. Oh, has been shot down. Where the hell is our escort?
Hey, that better not be what I think it is. This is SWPM. Get out of here now. What you do? Where's it coming from? How far is it? It's no use. We're too late. Griffiths 2. Come in, Griffiths 2. Griffiths 2. Griffiths 3. Anyone.
The mission was, however, so that's the super weapon LaceApp. Who could have done that?
Let this be a symbol of the fury borne by our countrymen towards Aurelia.
Such was the impassioned speech of LaceApp's commander, Diego Gaspar Navarro, as images of the Aurelian squadron's destruction over Cape Aubrey played in the background. A day later, his gravelly voice continued to echo through my hungover brain. October. 1 year after the cessation of the Democratic Republic of LaceApp's civil war. After the Civil War, LaceApp began to set their sights on their peaceful neighbor, the Federal Republic of Aurelia, claiming retribution for years of exploitation. The invasion suddenly began. With the ever-present threat of the cloaked airborne fortress, Gleipnir, looming overhead, there was little time to react to the few concerns raised about the validity of the war. Such was the speed at which all of Aurelia fell under LaceApp's control. Well, not everything has fallen into their hands, but it's only a matter of time. Looking out over the capital, Gaius Tower is both home to LaceApp's Central Command and the very symbol of its power. It was originally intended to be a symbol of Aurelia's peace. How ironic. As I looked up at the sun traveling the same old path across the sky, the rays burned my tired eyes. Damn it. Just wish I could finish covering this completely one-sided war and head back home. I'll never get used to being in the southern hemisphere with its backwards seasons.
The Gleipnir was last confirmed heading southeast across the Puna Plains. However, we lost all. Unfortunately, Aurelia's information network can... The airborne fortress, even with you, sir, we no longer have... In addition, given the situation, on the Puna Plains lying below, LaceApp forces have attacked Puna base. Destroy all. If you succeed, we'll gain an important foothold for an attack on Port Patterson. And what's more, please don't fail, sir.
Didn't the last attack finish off all remaining Aurelian air power? Or is there yourself? now. None of our guys have a Southern Cross.
Command. What's the situation, Tuna Base? We're taking enemy fire. Request reinforcements immediately. Request reinforcements immediately. It'll take some time. We need time to launch. Hold on until reinforcements arrive. Hurry up! If they don't get here soon, there'll be nothing left of this base but a pile of rubble.
Retreating LASAP, the base. The battle scattered forces, however, having lost if any more ships in order to prevent this. In particular, try the number of the M this time.
Griffith 1, you are cleared for takeoff. Griffith 1, altitude restrictions canceled. Return to your mission. Clock. Clocks to Griffith 1. Check your MPT on the right side of the HUD. The MPT will display the number of landing ships in the port. Please pay careful attention to the MPT during this mission. So, you're Griffith 1, huh? I'm Major Burton, ground force commander. There are landing ships within the enemy fleet. We'll use the battle of a battalion around to make it ashore. Do not allow more than 3 landing ships to enter the port. We'll be risking our necks out here with you. Let's escape back to Fort Patterson. Hello? Wait, I got something on radar. Put the city on high alert. I don't want to see so much as a kitten out on those streets. Just make sure that bridge is raised. EE guns destroyed. All right, Chris is moving. Enemy plane approaching. Somebody help us! Enemy freighter destroyed. Chris is right, there's another one.
Your altitude is too low.
Everybody, alert to port! This is the 5th Amphibious Unit. We're about to enter the port. You'll be able to acquire supplies after entering the port. Just head for the bridge. See you later. Bridge control on the base command. Commence raising of the bridge. let the enemy get close. Cricket Boy bagged another one. Give us more speed! Destruction of enemy fleet confirmed. The mission was a success.
We've succeeded in destroying the enemy fleet gathered in Port Patterson. Our ground troops...
The emblem of the Southern Cross. It was on that very day that the aircraft bearing the mark of the Southern Hemisphere brought about the defeat of Laysath forces. But the story barely made the news, and the army showed no apparent reaction. Almost nightly, Laysath's commanding officer, Diego Gaspar Navarro, plays host to grand banquets within Gaia's Tower. This evening, he is once again proudly trumpeting the glory of his airborne fortress. I've heard the speech so many times, it feels like I wrote it. Which, in a way, is a good thing, because it lets me concentrate on enjoying the food instead. As I gazed out the window at the night sky, I felt as if even the phases of the moon were somehow at odds with those of the Northern Hemisphere. The words of a fellow reporter, who fancied himself a connoisseur of fine wine, really got me thinking about the price of the glass of wine in my hand. One glass of it is roughly equivalent to several years of a Laysathian citizen's salary. Haven't the long years of civil war left Laysath an impoverished and war-torn nation? Whatever the case, much is unclear about the flow of money in Laysath. Ever since I arrived here, I've only covered stories the military had approved. However, this particular mystery just might be worth investigating on my own. The idea was nothing more than the product of an idle mind. At least at the time.
Okay, let's get started with a report of the situation. I think our best option under the circumstances would be to head towards Santa Elva. Santa Elva is a strategic location that we have to pass through to get to the capital, Griswold. However, there are several other strategic points on the way to Santa Elva. Which points you choose and in what order you do so is up to you. It looks like your decisions will affect the course of this battle. I know it's an immense responsibility, but there's no one else to count on. We're relying on you to get us through this. It appears that the enemy's Miller unit is gathering at Kings Hill. It looks like they're trying to take back Port Patterson. I wonder what they're up to. Next, we have reports that the Allied Davis unit is cut off at Stand Canyon. Gleipnir took off from Puna Base and is